And we are live. Welcome to the Porter Brothers afternoon show here on Friday, March 1st. Beautiful March 1st, Friday. A lot going on, as is the case these days, right? There's always a lot going on. So we're going to cover quite a few things today. Trump has just arrived in Mar-a-Lago, or in the Mar-a-Lago case. It's actually in, I think, Port St. Lucie. Fort something. Let me just I am spinning my stuff here. Thanks for joining us on your TVs, of course, in Texas and Louisiana. We're on Smart Money Culture TV there in Louisiana and Texas as well. We are streaming live across platforms, of course, on one of our favorite platforms, X, as well as with our partnership on CryptoKick YouTube and all the other ones, right? We get them all. And I'm just sharing this out here. I'll tell you what, Elon is really making a big move. He has really been making a big move with his app. You can now call people. You can video call people. I can't wait to try out the video spaces. I think the video spaces are going to be absolutely amazing. I can't wait to try them. I don't know how that's going to, I actually have some ideas of how we're going to do it and broadcast, but I have to test it out. I'm not totally sure yet. But I mean, hats off to him. He's really done a heck of a job, hasn't he, in putting that together. Now, what we have, of course, going on here now, gold has taken a bit of a move here. Gold has taken a bit of a move, and that is pretty interesting because, of course, at the same moment, you have oil going on a move. Now, this really has to do and shows us that the U.S. dollar, one, is weakening, and two, your inflation is going up. So you can see right here over this psychological mark. Let me just make sure I'm showing this. Yeah, we're over the psychological $80 mark. So now that we're over that psychological $80 mark, we're more than likely going to continue to see that rise. I think oil has quite a bit of ways to go, unfortunately, in order to, because there's just a lot going on in the world. And when there's a lot going on, like it is now, oil is one of those things that becomes more expensive. And then when oil is more expensive, of course, it's more expensive to get goods and services. It's more expensive to travel. It's more expensive to fly. It's more expensive for your cleaning lady to come over. It's more expensive for the babysitter. It is just more expensive all around. So, and of course, the OPEC producing nations aren't that really fond of us, especially with our unabashed support of Israel. And, so I would not expect this. I would not be surprised if we move up fairly quickly here. As well, the way the markets work, the big market players, the markets used to be, I feel like, more one-sided, but these days people play the markets. Okay, and so here you see, I've been graphing out here, Bitcoin. Bitcoin should have a pullback here. I had a couple of successful shorts this morning. To be frank, always scared to short a bull market, but if you're quick with it, you can have some good stuff. Now, as well as when I am trading, one of the things that I like to do is look at the actual time that it is when I'm trading. And so if I'm trading and it's during a lunchtime or something like that, I can expect a market pullback, and I will sometimes trade on that market pullback. Now, lunchtime is kind of officially over at 1. Now, it doesn't mean that the market's going to rebound here. It does have a way to retrace. Let me just pull this chart out a bit more here. You can look at the daily. I mean, it's pretty impressive, but a pretty obvious kind of crest here. We had the most largest volume in Bitcoin and on the ETFs the day before yesterday. We had the second largest volume yesterday. And then, of course, here. Now, these are professional traders. Remember, these are very highly professional traders that are trading this. They don't lose. So I would expect for them to come in and out of these trades as they see fit. Okay. Historically, we do have a bit of a pullback on Bitcoin after the 60-day point, which we are. So we're now within the 60 days towards the halving. And we normally will have a pullback about now, and so keep that in mind. If you're out there trading, keep your stop losses on, and keep that in mind. Keep things nice and tight. Okay, Trump, the great Trump. You guys got to remind me. I got to remember to go live on Instagram. Instagram is pretty annoying. You have to go live, and then you got to go live again, and then you got to go live again. It's like, oh Jesus, guys. Okay. Anyway. Okay, I'm going to pull up my screen again here on Trump. I'll just go back to this tab and then we'll pull him up. So Trump is in Fort Worth. That's where it is. So Trump's in Fort Worth. Actually, I'll talk about that in a minute. So let me move over to this tab. I'm going to move back over to this tab. And we're going to talk about Trump. So Trump is in Fort Worth, and big outshowing of support. You know, it's in one sense, of course, it's horrible that he's having to do all this stuff. In the other sense, of course, he gets to not advertise, but kind of advertise. I think this reporter is the one who talked about.
Okay, we're seeing something in Florida. This is Fort Pierce now, and Donald Trump just showed up screen right. And look what's going on screen left. Wow. It is Trump territory on the southeast coast of Florida. And all those people have showed up for him to come in and listen to the case is whether or not it could get bumped. This is the documents matter that pertains to Mar-a-Lago after the president left the White House. And we're going to see whether or not the trial date stands up or what they decide to do. But that is some turnout there.
Quite the escort as well, as you see on your full screen right now of the police in Fort Pierce, Florida, escorting the former president to this court date. And, you know, I mean, this is why this works with the campaign. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work against the campaign. Yeah. It takes him off the campaign trail, but in many ways it puts him right on it, because this is a huge outpouring of support.
Okay, we're seeing something in Florida. This is Fort Pierce now.
Oh, it's certainly a double-edged sword. I mean, you heard that reporter say it works for him and against him. I don't know how much really it works for him, but certainly, you know, you can see, and a lot of these police guys, I'm sure, are. I don't know if this is the same.
Fort Pierce now, and Donald Trump just showed up screen right.
Yeah.
And look what's going on screen left. Wow.
You know, the guys got support. It was like I was telling some of the guys in I would say locker room, but in the Annie dressing room yesterday. Of course, I'm doing the show Annie with my daughters. But the guys got support. I mean, he does have the vote. Now, whether they're going to let him win or not, it remains to be seen. The man does have the support.
Joe Biden is the most incompetent president we've ever had. He's the worst president we've ever had. He is a true threat to democracy because he's weaponized the FBI and the DOJ to go get his political opponent and many other people, Christians. He's really after the Catholics. I don't know what's going on with the Catholics, but for some reason, there's something happening with the Catholics. I mean, I don't know how they can possibly vote for a Democrat or for him, but he's weaponized government at a level that nobody's ever seen before outside of a third world country. Yeah. Joe Biden.
It is really something to watch. I mean, you heard the man right there. He has weaponized the DOJ and the law enforcement agencies in a way that we have never seen. We've certainly never seen. And I would say now, I would put a caveat on that. Actually, the FBI was started back in 1908. Their first job was really to go after all those who opposed World War I. And so there is a bit of history with that. The FBI and then the CIA, I was reading over the evening, actually, the CIA was started cousins, the Dulles, cousins of the Rockefellers. So pretty interesting. And the Rothschilds are Rockefellers, but pretty interesting. This apparatus that we have with the central bank that is really controlling everything. I mean, I don't know who answers to who. Actually, I know who answers to who. On my X account, make sure you follow me on X at Networks Manager. But I talk about it a lot, and I put things in questions a lot. And the reason is because I want to hear what you have to say. It's not really all about what I have to say. And that's why I follow a lot of people back as well. If I'm not following you back and you want me to follow you back, just tweet me and let me know, or post me. It's not tweeting, I guess, anymore, and let me know. But I want to be friends. I want to be connected with people. It's not about a one-way voice with me. I would like to be friends. I would like to know you. Speaking of that, thanks for joining in on the Smart Money Culture TV network. We're about to go to a commercial break there in Texas and Louisiana, but we are going to be right back on the other side of that break with more information and more reporting. And we're going to show the Arbius project, which is really interesting, an AI project that we had on this morning. So we're going to play that again. I could possibly play the analysis from our good guy, Matt Dixon, as well. It was pretty spot on this morning. I don't know. I'm going to kind of decide about that as we move forward. One of the things I wanted to talk about as well was the fact that, let me just check Smart Money. Okay, we are on commercials over at Smart Money now. So I'm going to talk about this now, and then I might talk about it a little bit more. But just in, and this is from Colin Rugg. He's a popular, well-known reporter, I guess. I don't know exactly what his deal is here, but anyway, just in, the Blaze Media investigative journalist Steve Baker has been taken into FBI custody allegedly for his January 6th J6 reporting. Baker previously said he didn't know what charges were against him, but was told that they were nonviolent misdemeanors. The prosecutor informed my attorney, this is a quote from Baker, the prosecutor informed my attorney that I have to arrive at the FBI field office wearing shorts and sandals. So that means they are taking him in. They don't want him to have shoes. They want him to have his own sandals, that they don't have to wear their flip-flops and shorts. And then he says, they didn't have to go this route, as we have been told that my charges are non-violent misdemeanors. They seem to feel the need to give me a dose of personal humiliation treatment. Baker was reportedly present at the J6, this guy says riot. I don't know how much of a riot it was, but as an independent journalist, absolute insanity. Let's look at this report. That's Baker right there, being taken into custody, is what it looks like there at the FBI field office.
So mentally, how are you?
I have my moments. I'm okay. I've had over 2 years to prepare for this. I've game planned it all out in my head. I'm not going to sleep tonight. I'm not even going to try. It is my way anyway. And so I'm just going to, prepare, pray, and then I'm going to put on my suit and tie.
Good for you.
And walk in with my head up.
It's crazy, huh? So that's that's what we have going on here, guys. It is absolutely unacceptable what we have going on in this country as far as this lawfare that's going on. I don't know how long you're going to feel like it's okay to sit around. I've been telling everybody you need to come to Washington, D.C., and you need to represent yourself. Nobody is representing you here. And, I don't know. I don't know what the story of this guy is. I don't know if he went inside the Capitol or what. But I mean, this is chilling. I mean, this is Venezuela stuff. Okay, this is really scary stuff, guys. This is where we get into, you know, what are we doing? You know, what are we doing as a country that we're going to let our reporters, our journalists, get arrested and prosecuted like this? I mean, this is absolute insanity. So, you know, it remains to be seen how that's going to play out. Of course, we are certainly losing on the freedom front. We have journalist Julian Assange, who, of course, as you know, they have been after Julian for quite a while. Our own CIA was actually trying to kill him while he was in custody. And so, and actually, I think Trump was thinking about letting him, you know, free, giving him a pardon. And the former CIA director Pompeo had a absolute hissy fit about the whole thing. Just putting this out on my thing here. Investigative journalist Steve Baker has been taken by allegedly for his J6 reporting. I guess I'll hashtag that. 1330. On Fridays, I don't have my brother. Flying solo. So on Fridays, it's the Porter Brothers show with no brother. But he's with us all the rest of the time. So, guys, this is a sad state of affairs, really, and we need to stand up for ourselves, and we need to stop this. This is not okay. And you know, even so, we have an election coming up. We have an election and welcome back our viewers from Smart Money Culture TV. I'm actually going to play that again for you guys because you didn't get to see it. So welcome back on Smart Money Culture TV. I'm going to add this back to the screen, and I'm going to play this one more time for everybody. Just in, Blaze Media investigative journalist Steve Baker has been taken into custody by the FBI allegedly for his J6 reporting. Baker previously said that he didn't know what charges were against him, and the prosecutor informed my attorney, this is what he's saying, the prosecutor informed my attorney that I am to arrive at the FBI field office wearing shorts and sandals. That means they're taking him in. Baker said they didn't have to go this route as I've been told that my charges are nonviolent misdemeanors. And this is just, you know, going along with this whole, you know, intimidation thing that the FBI, and the FBI has a long history of this, as a matter of fact, quelling opposition to World War I. As well, I could go down the line. I was talking with some people about it today. They didn't have to go this route. They seem to feel the need to give me a dose of the personal humiliation treatment. Baker was reportedly present at the J6 riot. Riot is a relative term. That's what this reporter said. Let's watch this, and then I just want you guys to be able to see it. So this is Baker being taken into custody.
So, mentally, how are you?
I have my moments. I'm okay. I've had over 2 years to prepare for this. I've game planned it all out in my head. I'm not going to sleep tonight. I'm not even going to try. It is my way anyway. And so I'm just going to, prepare, pray, and then I'm going to put on my suit and tie.
Good for you.
And walk in with my head up.
Yeah. It's absolutely crazy, guys. It is out of control. It's out of control that we are allowing this to happen in our country. And I can't say that enough. And I'm a big peaceful guy. All right. We have the monetary revolution. I've been preaching the monetary revolution for over a decade now. And it's really the only way. I don't know what else to tell people. What other way are you going to fight back? If you're not fighting back with the monetary revolution, then I don't know what other peaceful way you have. The way to get involved in the monetary revolution is to get out of their money. So basically, the central bank has taken over the country. They've taken over all the countries. I actually put a post. Someone asked me. I'll pull it up here. They said, "Who are the families who are the owners?" Basically, then they say that it's not private and this and that and the other, but it is. Let me just see here. Rothschilds. So I listed them for one of the guys here. Let me just share this tab, add it to the screen. So these are the families right here. Okay. And just to put here, I put this post up. It's worth watching this. I said, you wonder why inflation is so high. Listen to this. Listen to this.
Is that tax money that the Fed is spending?
It's not tax money. The banks have accounts with the Fed, much the same way that you have an account in a commercial bank. So to lend to a bank, we simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account that they have with the Fed. So it's much more akin, although not exactly the same, but it's much more akin to printing money than it is to borrowing.
Is that tax money
Let's watch
that the
one
Fed
more
is
time.
spending?
It's not tax money. The banks have accounts with the Fed, much the same way that you have an account in a commercial bank. So to lend to a bank, we simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account that they have with the Fed. So it's much more akin, although not exactly the same, but it's much more akin to printing money than it is to borrowing.
Is that tax money?
This is exactly what I've been telling you guys, that they don't need us. They don't need the tax money. The tax money is not to support this stuff. They're printing the money. They're taxing us themselves by printing it, by diluting it. So Michael Fuchs here had asked who the families were, and I told him here. I listed them out: the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Morgans, the Warburgs, the Goldman Sachs, Lehman, Kuhn Loeb, Lazard, Israel Moses Seif, Schiff, and Stillman. They all have something in common that I'm not going to highlight right now. But those are the families that own the country. And the faster that the sooner that people can realize that we're owned by these people, the faster we can become unowned by them. Okay, because we've only been owned by these people since 1913. Okay, 1776. Of course, we beat the Brits. We sent them out. We started our country. We made a constitution, and that lasted until 1864. In 1864, Abraham Lincoln, who everybody loves, but Abraham Lincoln took us off the gold and silver mandate, and he started making greenbacks. And he kept the central bank, those central bankers, he kept them out for the time being, from what I understand. It's a long time ago. Okay. So I can just go at what historically is there. And what historically is there is he started the greenbacks. And if you start asking around, they'll say, oh no, it was a gold standard, but there wasn't really, it was backed by nothing. You could print whatever you wanted. You could print however many of them they wanted. 1900, they started the gold standard. But already after 1900, they were already printing. Once the Federal Reserve started, the Federal Reserve got passed in 1913, and they already started printing 10-to-1. So they were already doing fractional reserve banking. And then, of course, in 1933, they finished the job and started, it wasn't tacked anymore there to it. And then, of course, Nixon or whatever, like I said, that part I need to dig into a little bit more, because they hate Nixon so bad. I wonder now. But in 1913, these families, they've owned us since then. And that's why we can't get anything done. That's why no matter who we elect, we can't change anything. because they print the money. So he who holds the purse strings has the power, and they're holding the purse strings. Okay, so that's they're the ones that are holding the purse strings. They have the money. I'm going to play from our friends here. I want to make sure I get the whole video in, and I'm going to come back on the other end of it and talk more about it. But I want to play. This is lost it there for a minute. So RBS, they have an AI powered platform, and it's really cool. So I wanted to play that interview this morning. It was really great, and I want to make sure that we're on. And then we're going to come back on the other side and talk some more about this. But this is pretty awesome here. If we could lead off, I have a couple of questions that I put together here. And just to give you just off their website, custom rules for distributions and rewards participating in the network here. And just to give you just off their website, it's a peer-to-peer machine learning. RBS is a decentralized network for machine learning supply like Bitcoin. New coins are generated with GPU power by participating in the network. There's no central authority to create new coins. RBS is a fully open source. Holders vote on chain for protocol upgrades. Models operate as DAOs with custom rules for distributions and rewards, providing a way for model creators to earn income. So a couple of really interesting things here that, one is like the hashing algorithm and, all these types of things. But let me just go ahead and have you guys to both introduce yourself first, and then I'll go into my first question.
Okay, I guess I can start. I'm Mary. I'm relatively new to the team. I guess I was sort of headhunted by Jay, obviously, and was sold on sort of like the core values of RBS. And we had pretty much aligned on that, working towards a better future than the current state of tech being like, semi-rigged and in favor of like powerful groups and things like that. So yeah, I mean, I'm fairly new and I'm still working through that. But yeah, Jay, you can go ahead and jump in. It's been
So I go a little bit back. I go all the way back to before 2017, so sort of going to Bitcoin. I think around 2014 or something. My first experience with Bitcoin was actually Mt. Gox. I did actually lose a little bit of money there. I mean, a lot of people did. I've seen a lot of cycles up and down. I used to be a TV producer a lifetime ago. And then basically I worked on Bitcoin Cash for a little bit as the main person for SLP, the director of SLP Foundation, where I helped put USDT onto Bitcoin Cash. I worked with Bitcoin.com, bunch of other things. And then I sort of did a NFT game. That first game you can basically play directly from your wallet on Telegram. And now I'm working on RBS, and that's kind of like my history. Yeah. Oh, and I made the most popular token on Bitcoin Cash called Spice Token.
Nice. Well, Roger Ver is a friend of ours. We've known him for years. He's a funny guy. Back in the day, especially, we used to see him quite a bit. Not as much anymore. I don't think he travels so much. So tell me a little bit about the inspiration. What was the inspiration behind starting RBS?
So I met the founder of RBS, I guess now a lifetime ago. This was before the 2017 ICO craze. So this was like back in the Bitcoin block size debate sort of era. That was counterparty and colored coins. I mean, people don't really know that tokens existed before the Ethereum thing, right? And so we've all seen all the ups and downs of the industry. And interestingly, the founder used to actually work in machine learning and is extremely experienced software engineer and with deep passion for liberty. To the point where he probably make a lot more. But idealism isn't cheap, right? So last year, he came to me with this revolutionary idea called RBS. At first, I didn't really get it. But when I realized that this could be like the Bitcoin of AI, I'm like, yeah, count me in, basically. And the inspiration is that we're seeing a lot of what's happened to money happening to AI, in that it is becoming centrally controlled, like a central bank. Sort of similar to when Nixon, in the Nixon era, ended the Bretton Woods system, right? Basically removing the gold standard. And fiat, as you guys probably know very well, became slowly controlled by just a few people with deep connections, and the dilution and all that. And we realized that there is a deep case for making AI decentralized in a Bitcoin-like manner. So that the future of basically everything that happens isn't going to be controlled by just a few powerful interests, right? Who control the software companies, financial companies, media companies, and so on. That's basically the inspiration for Arbius, which also means Zeus in Greek mythology, who uses a thunderbolt, a metaphor for tech, to overthrow Cronus, which stands for the closed centralized system that takes, economic freedom and free speech from people.
Wow. Well, that is really cool. Great vision and story behind it. So, funding is always one of the most important things. I know you guys had a pre-sale, and of course, you're continuing with that low fixed supply. How did the pre-sale go for you guys?
Yeah, I'll take that one. We had our pre-sale a few months ago, and we actually didn't raise too much. We had this idea that great products don't have to blow through like millions and millions of dollars to sort of build. I mean, after all, Steve Jobs started Apple in his garage, right? There was nothing massively special about it at first, and then it boomed. So yeah, it went pretty good. The way it works is, like you mentioned, we've used sort of like a Bitcoin-inspired tokenomics with a twist, which means that there is a maximum supply of 1 million AIUS. So that's what the token's called, AIUS, minted with a halvening process similar to Begin, where the amount of coins mined goes down over time, eventually arriving at nothing. And then the AIUS coins become digitally sparse with Bitcoin. So that's the idea behind it. At the moment, we actually have 177 miners mining Arbius, which is really great, since we just launched, a couple weeks ago. And we, just on that note, we've actually published our roadmap a couple days ago. And the 3 pillars are: 1, the AI decentralization; 2, AI with empathy; and 3, AI capitalism. And the next step sort of from here is that we're working on our next phase, where we partnered up with 2 other companies. And
hold on one second. Jay,
Yes?
when you're not talking, can you mute? Because we're getting a little bit of feedback.
Me?
No, it's Jay. Go ahead.
Oh, right. Sorry.
But I still want you to talk, Jay. I just when you're not talking, just mute. If we could do that, it'd be much better. Go ahead.
I thought he'd know that by now after all the videos we've done or interviews. Come on, Jay. But yeah, so just to finish that off, I think our next phase, we've partnered up with Unicro and Alignment Labs, and we're going to start building the first AI anonymous agent marketplace. So yeah, that's sort of like the next phase. But yeah, I think to answer your question simply, the pre-sale went well. Good.
So then we have AI, and you mentioned it a number of times. AI is such a hot topic. It's propelling massive growth in technology and changing the way that people live. From what I see here, there's some exciting uses of Arbius to generate images, text, audio. I mean, this is like pretty sexy stuff. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, sure. It is sexy. Yes, it very much is. I like personally, I think 2024 is going to be massive for AI video. Beyond that, you're sort of looking at AI, very soon being able to do 3D and all sorts of like jobs that require human problem solving and also financial prediction. I think that the AIs that can understand problems and instructions like humans do and come up with a step-by-step plan on how to go about to solve that is definitely going to be an interesting, I guess, direction or future for us all, really.
Well, yeah, right. I mean, it's absolutely, it's changing everything, right? So then,
yeah.
when people are GPU mining on this this Kandinsky 2, I mean, I almost am embarrassed to say that I really didn't know much about it at all. But what exactly? I mean, is that like proof of work mining? I mean, I can remember back in the day, I used to think that proof of work mining was like really like solving things for people or whatnot, and then I figured out, okay, it's just solving in order to beat the other computers. What is going on? Can you talk to us a little bit about the proof of work system that you have?
Jay, do you want to take this?
Yeah. So obviously, proof of work has been pretty much for Bitcoin and other generation one coins, a battle-tested model that just simply works, right? But I really believe in that. Miners do work to secure the system, and so the price is just not made up money by inflation, but actually based on real costs people have spent. I guess in Bitcoin it's electricity, and in RBS it's basically AI compute. So RBS leverages GPU mining by making GPU miners compete for AI tasks and AI agents. Like Bitcoin, this allows for real market competition for AI compute, which actually drives the price down for the operation of these models. So for most models that are like not very, for example, image generation, for example, like Kandinsky, you basically don't get charged because it's just natural competition that drives the price down. And miners solve AI tasks just like Bitcoin solves puzzles to get the block reward. And I believe the sort of definition people are coming up with is it's called useful proof of work, which is like proof of work that you actually have done something that someone else wants. And I guess that's the sort of different point from Bitcoin. That Bitcoin is a hashing algorithm, whilst RBS sort of compares hash of the solution being submitted, the task, and the task, whether that matches with the solution that's presented. And by that, and if it matches and the miner is the fastest and most competitive, basically they earn the block reward. So to answer the question about Kandinsky 2, it's basically just an image generation model that we're using to bootstrap the network with A100 chips. So as Marie mentioned, right now, I think there's about 177 miners all running these A100 chips. There are NVIDIA AI chips that basically is specialized in doing AI. And this is just a way of bootstrapping that AI compute. So we will in the coming weeks, there's a video model coming up, and all sorts of things you can do, large language models, fine-tuned models, image modification, pipelines, and all this stuff. And so basically the Kandinsky thing is just like, you need to make it easier, right? Because if we started off with like, hey, 5 models, the miners kind of go, well, which one do I mine, right? So it's a way to just get the miners started. So the miners, we have a continuous happening schedule. So the miners, it's like the same with the Bitcoin model. People that go in and start mining now, it's hard, it's technical, but it's like high risk, high reward, right? So it makes sense to just start off with one model instead of being like, hey, you can use like 5 different chips and there's 5 different things. So which one do I mine? And as the DAO comes online, basically the DAO will add more.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, I want to make sure that we get. So we have RBS. I want to make sure while we're still on our live TV spot that we get RBS.ai. How do people get involved? Where do they buy the token and the other plugs that you might want to put on here?
Yeah, I think just to note firstly that there's a lot of like people like scams and stuff and creating groups and everything. So just make sure if you do go on anything, please do go on RBS.ai. All of our links to Twitter, And Discord and everything else is at the bottom of the website. So make sure you go through that. And in terms of buying the AIUS tokens, you can jump on Uniswap, and that's UNISWAP. I only spell that because when someone says things, I can't ever spell it properly. So just for those that need that. But yeah, at the moment, like I mentioned earlier, we are fairly new. Like we've just launched a couple weeks ago, so we aren't listed on any exchanges at the moment. I think we wanted to focus on just launching, and yeah. So just as a side note, in terms of I guess that's pretty much it. You can purchase it on Uniswap.
Okay, and then for us, with our streaming viewers, I wanted
Yes.
to just get a little bit more information on the staking feature as well, because you guys are both proof of work and staking, and of course that's so interesting for people in the crypto world. So can you talk a little bit about how that works?
Sure. So the staking isn't like staking in terms of, I think a lot of projects, they do staking and then they mint their token and inflate. Yeah, it doesn't work like that on RBS. Basically, you stake liquidity on Uniswap, and you just basically stake the LP on something called Geyser. That's spelled GYSR. And we have a reward about 50 IS in total every day. That's distributed to people that provide liquidity, basically. And then if they provide liquidity, they take that LP and stake it on Geyser, then they'll earn extra rewards. In the future, we'll probably add AI pools and delegated mining, so it will be available to more less technical users that are not miners to make IS flow.
Amazing. And then the last thing I want to cover, because I know it's just going to be so interesting for everybody, then I'll let you go. But so when we talk about the uses of RBS and generating these pictures and these AI pictures and everything like that, can you walk us through a little bit about how that works?
Yeah, so sure. Right now you can go on the generate page on RBS and just try the Kandinsky model out, and you can just connect your wallet and basically generate an image. Down the line, you can basically look at the docs, and there's downstream application developers are building stuff. And we're gonna have a Telegram bot that can run all the models directly, and you can generate from the Telegram bot pretty easily without paying for anything. We have Amica, which is our virtual assistant that has emotion, voice, and vision, and it's also 3D, and it's totally uncensored. You can do whatever you want with it. There's no limitations put there on it like ChatGPT or these other centralized things, and that will be hooked up to the RBS ecosystem as function calling, so you'll be able to call those functions there. But right now, the generate page is the main way to try it out, basically. And we're so early that we haven't done the downstream apps yet, but those are going to come pretty soon.
Well, pretty awesome, guys. I think it's really cool. We're gonna be keeping an eye on things as well as they develop for you. I want to thank you guys so much for both coming on. Make sure to check out RBS, RBS.AI. It's David hooked us up with the nice banner there. Unleashing decentralized AI models by miners. I think it's really cool. I think this is the future of stuff, and you see these AI coins, they're just really taking off. So we look forward to circling back with you guys, having you on again, and best of luck. And we're going to be watching.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Fantastic.
And thanks for joining. Okay. All right. Well, there you have it, guys. RBS. We're going to have, I imagine we will probably have them on again. Really cool project they have. These AI platforms are really taken off. I know as well. Our friend Matt Dixon has been talking about it. I wanted to talk a little bit about the central bank again, because the central bank is central to our freedom and to getting our freedom back. So let me just at 44, I'm putting my post out here. Let's say, okay. So I want to talk about the 8 families that control the privately held central bank in the U.S. called the Federal Reserve. Okay. And the Federal Reserve has bypassed the Congress. They have bypassed the White House, and they are now in control of the United States. And that is why we are not able to get anything done at all. Let me just see here. Did my post? Didn't post yet. Maybe it's on its 30 seconds thing here. I just want to make sure I have that before I move on here. Twitter seems to be having a rough time today. I mean, I know I post a lot, guys, but come on. Okay, so I'm going to give that a minute. I'm going to move over to my tab right here where I had these families up. And I'm going to add this back to the screen. So these are the families that own our country. And I don't know if people have put this information out before or not. I really don't know, but I am. And I did not kill myself. Okay. This is a banking cartel. They are running the countries of the world via the central banks. They print the money and they front the money to the different countries, and they charge them interest. So they front the money to the different countries. Again, they charge them interest for that, and they basically control everything. So we have been at war. 1914, the central bank, the Federal Reserve, was started in the U.S., and we have been at war since then, basically, with just a few year breathers in between. And so it is very important that we get our hands on a control of our money supply. We shouldn't be on paper money anyway, okay? But certainly we need to get out from under these families, and I'll read them out loud. And again, I did not kill myself, okay? They are the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Morgans, the Warburgs, Goldman Sachs, Lehman, Kuhn Loeb, Lazard, Israel Moses Schiff, Stillman. And these are the people that own your country. And they are the ones who we have to take this power away from them, or else we will not exist anymore as a country. They have been draining us for over 100 years, since 1913. Even like if you go back, you could buy a house in 1913 for $15,000. And that same house costs you about $1 million right now. And the reason is that these people have diluted you, and they've done it behind your back, and they've done it on purpose. They knew exactly what they were doing. You didn't understand what they were doing, but they understood what they were doing. So what they're doing is fronting the money for whatever the people in Washington want. Whatever they want, they front the money for. And then they charge them interest. Here's a little bit of history here. I'll play this as well. A little bit of history on the central bank. I know I played this before, but it's worth watching.
This is Jekyll Island, where in 1910, representatives from the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Morgans, and other private bankers gathered secretly to draft the legislation that would create the Federal Reserve. I found it revealing that in the same year the Federal Reserve was founded, 1913, the Internal Revenue Service was also established. An income tax was then instigated so you and I would have to pay the politicians' debt plus interest to the bankers.
The problem is we have a privately owned central bank system in the United States disguised as a government-owned system. Now, if you look in the telephone book here in the Washington, D.C. area, you look up for Federal Reserve in the blue government pages, it's not there. It's in the white pages right next to Federal Express. It's a privately owned central bank.
Central banks are banking.
All right, now I'm going to continue with this. Is different.
These are the things that are going on in there. It's like an octopus with arms. It's many, many arms, but you got to go after the head of the octopus in this one. Who is it? The central banks, the IMF, the ECB, the private West central banks, the BIZ, the Rothschild banks.
The Federal Reserve really, even though it is not part of the federal government, it is more powerful than the federal government. It's more powerful than the president, the Congress, and the courts.
The problem is that since 1864, we've had a debt-based banking system. All our money is based on government debt. We cannot extinguish government debt without extinguishing our money supply. That's why talk of paying off the national debt without reforming our banking system is an impossibility. That's why the solution does not lie in discussing the size of the national debt, rather it lies in reforming our banking system. There's nothing federal about the Federal Reserve, and there are no reserves. The name is a deception created back before the Federal Reserve Act was passed in 1913 to make Americans think that America's central bank operates in the public interest.
Your voice is powerful when combined with social engagement.
So again, you guys, we have, obviously this is a situation here that we have with our central bank. And that is why I heard something, I don't know, let me just look real quick. I was just posting right here. That being said, these are the ones where that haven't popped. One of the we had a comment on the RBS one. Thanks for the RBS.ai interview. Ground floor opportunity ? Maybe when Bitcoin was trading at 0.06 cents, I was squandering $100 to $200 a week with nothing to show for it today. I'll not make that mistake again. And I just said we're not financial advisors, but these plays are not guaranteed. Not financial advisors. Buyer beware. That being said, these are the ones that haven't popped yet, and they could work out big. I know I've been saying it a number of times over the last week or two as the market has really popped. The alt season is going to be absolutely crazy. You're going to see a lot of these tokens, or I shouldn't say a lot. You're going to see some of these tokens and platforms, and they're going to 50x, they're going to 20x, they're going to 100x, and that is that's how these things work. And so, buyer beware. Like I said, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not endorsing that project, but of course, it looks quite interesting to me. I will. I told Mary I was going to pull out my some of my old GPUs and mine some of it, which you can do that too. You can mine it, you can buy it. Uniswap is a very great platform in order to participate in things like that, and I love it. I mean, Uniswap is DeFi. It is crypto. It's a wonderful spot. And actually, I really like the coins when they're only on the DEXs. I know everybody likes them to get on the centralized exchange, but once they're on the centralized exchanges, then that changes everything. When it's on the DEX, you can see everything. You can see it all. You can see it all, which is really, for me, being an old crypto guy, that's what I like. But of course, as they grow, they'll be on some big centralized exchanges, and that'll get people happy and get more people involved too. But as a guy that wants to be involved on the ground floor, that's what I like to see. So anyhow, great show today, guys. Again, we're wrapping up another week here. Thanks to Smart Money Culture TV for having us, broadcasting us to we're reaching 7 million people, of which 30% of them watch local television. So 2.3 million people. We have 170,000 people per day that are tuning into the channel. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for having us on Smart Money Culture TV. We really appreciate it. And we will be back on Monday. Have a great weekend. See you soon.